Hey guys, let's see here. This is for entrepreneurship, and I just wanted to make a quick little video just showing you some of the stuff for using the CNC router. We're blessed to have a Onefinity CNC router, which I love. I've been using it quite a bit, and I find it to be absolutely wonderful. So I just wanted to show you guys a few things about the program, okay? So this is Easel, E-A-S-E-L. You can just Google Easel. If you need more, it's easelinventables.com. You can see it up there in the URL. Just go ahead, go there. I'll give you the school's login information, just what you need to go ahead and get in. Now, we'll come back to this one, but when you come in, you're going to see something like this, and you'll see all my old projects, a lot of stuff that I've done, a lot of stuff that my kids have done, stuff like that. Easel is a very intuitive program. It's a very, very easy program to use, but yet you can do some very, very cool stuff on it. So that's always good. You'll see something like this. We're going to explore a little bit with name sign master and probably just play around with a new project. In fact, you know what? Yeah, we'll do the name sign master. We'll do that one first, okay? So here's the basic name sign. I hope to be able to do some of these because it's just a very simple cut. Most of these cuts you can get done in, 20 minutes to a half hour type thing. And they look really, really nice, especially if you use some Aura mask and paint it and stuff like that. It's fairly simple, but it works very, very well. Okay? Just to explore this thing just a little bit, here you have basically, this is where you do your design stuff. On this side, this is where you can see actually what's going on. You can move these so you can see more or less or whatever. Down here on this side, you can zoom out, you can zoom in. There's a scroll bar here. You can get a vertical scroll bar somehow, I'm sure, as well. Very easy, very intuitive, okay? First thing you're probably going to go to is this right up here. This is the material, okay? I just have it set at birch plywood, but there's all of this different stuff that you can use. Some of it is really not that important, just to change what stuff looks like, One thing that could be important is two-color acrylic. Two-color acrylic, you can then say what's the top color and what's the bottom color. And you can see down here, like, when you're designing stuff, if you're designing in two-color acrylic, like you can see just very, very easily what it would actually look like. Right now I don't have any two-color acrylic in the workshop, so I'm not going to use that a whole lot. Let's see here, I'm just going to go back to my birch plywood right there. But if it's something that we want to do, if we find we could make a profit making signs with two-color acrylic, then we could definitely get some. All right. So you take your material type. You also have to take your width and your length. I don't like how they set it up here. Width is like left to right, and I have it set at 24 inches. Length is up and down, and I have it set to 7.5 because most of our boards are about 7.5. That's just what we milled them out to be. Thickness, 0.88. A little bit more than 0.75, a little more than 3/4. Something that you guys will see, and this is more like if I'm cutting out a clock face or something like that, if I'm cutting out a 0.75 material, I'll actually put the thickness down at 0.755, just to make sure the bit goes all the way through it. Okay? That's just a nice little trick to be able to use. This guy's kind of nice. This is where your zero is going to be. Now we have a little zeroing probe on the machine. That's pretty much set up for front left corner. For something like this, I would definitely just leave it front left corner. That's kind of the default. The only difference to that, when I'm doing a clock, I'll sometimes do the center. Now that just means that you're going to put your bit in the center to start carving, but we're going to leave this one at front left corner for right now. Okay? All right. These guys down here, I'm not going to spend too much time on them, but I do want you to know what's there. A couple of them we're going to spend a little bit more time on when we're doing just a sample. Okay, shapes, you can go ahead, grab different shapes and put them on there. Like I did some rectangles here, stuff like that. Line tool, you can put some lines on, and I can show you also how you can like round lines and do curved lines right there. Drill, that one's just making a hole, and you know what, I would just use a circle for that. Text is very, very nice to use. We have all of these fonts because we do have the Pro version. We have all of these fonts right here, ready to go. Design library, I don't use it a whole lot. There is some cool stuff in there. I don't use it a whole lot. Apps I have not used. Import is really, really useful, and I'll show you that a little bit later on a sample project. Import is great if you want to put an image onto something. You know, you want a Porsche image or something like that. You can literally, it's so easy. You can find the image, save it to your desktop, grab it here, and the program will trace it for you. I used to have to go use other programs like Inkscape to like convert images. This one does it all inside of it, so that's really, really useful. Okay. So yeah, this is the basics. Like if you wanted to do one of these, which I have an order coming up that I have to fill, I would just take this, go to project, make a copy. Okay. You just make a copy of that project, and then you can change it. Just go in here, change the name, change, you know, when they're married or whatever. Just customize it for the customer, and just makes it very, very easy to be able to do. Right here, this is where you would change the name of it. So when it says copy of name sign master, probably just change it to the last name of the customer that you're dealing with. Okay. Just looking through here, we'll get into download G-code in a bit. That'll be useful. None of this stuff you really use a whole lot. Okay. Up here, this you will be using. Okay. These are the different bits that you can use to cut it out. Now you can see this one. I chose a 60-degree V-bit. Let's see if I can move this. Nope, I can't. That's all right. We'll be able to see it. So V-bits down here, and I did it custom. This is a 60-degree, and hopefully you can see it. It's a 1 inch. Okay. Let's see here. The V-bit looks. We'll see if we can get it to focus. It's not looking like it will focus very well. Okay, it's this guy. This guy is very, very useful. I love using this one. It's got some mass to it, which is nice. It also has a replaceable little blade here. And so the nice thing about this one, when it gets dull, you don't have to buy a whole new bit. You can just buy a new blade. Okay, this is one that you guys will be using very often. You can get them smaller. This is a 1/2 inch wide one. Okay. This guy right here, this is a down cut, 1/4 inch down cut bit. That's another one that you guys will probably be using fairly regularly. And this one is an 1/8 of an inch down cut bit. This one's really, really useful. The only thing is that it will snap off fairly easily, which is bad, obviously. So you got to be a little bit careful with these. They do make 1/16 inch in diameter down cut bits. I have not bought any. I have not tried any, because if I've snapped quite a few 1/8 inch down cut bits, there's no way I'm going to use a 16th, because I would just probably snap it really, really easily. So you set your bit. Now this bit works really, really well because it gives you like a V channel into the letters, into what you're cutting. So I almost always use the 60-degree V-bit anytime that I'm doing text, because I just love what it actually looks like. Okay, now down to cut settings. When you go ahead and open it, it's usually on automatic. You can go automatic or you can go manual, and you can see they are very conservative when they go ahead and put on their feed rates and stuff like that. Feed rate is just how quickly the bit goes through the material. One thing that you want to be making chips, not dust. Okay, if you're making dust, that heats up your blade, and that's just going to dull your blade down. So it actually is good sometimes for the blade to go a little bit faster through the material. You don't want to go in too slow and smoking and burning and stuff like that. Now, that being said, if you go too fast, especially on this little 1/8 inch guy, you go too fast, you end up just breaking off the bit. Okay, so manual 50 inches per minute, that's absolutely fine for that that big one. In fact, I'm going to change that. I'm going to bump that up to 60 inches per minute. Okay, plunge rate, you can definitely get away with 20 inches per minute. That'll just speed things up a little bit. Okay, depth per pass, I have it set here for, that's basically a 1/16 of an inch. It'll just do a 1/16 of an inch each time. I'm going to try one, I think, at 0.125. That's an 1/8 of an inch. I think that would actually be just a little bit better, just being an 1/8 of an inch down. It'll take out more material, make more chips, and it'll obviously go faster then as well. Okay. Down here, this one, I do play with this sometimes. It's just how you want the bit to enter the material. Do you want it to come in, slope down as it goes in, or do you want it to go straight down in? Depends what I'm carving. Usually I have it sloped down, but you'll see if like you're doing a clock and you're making a hole in the clock, it could be best just to go straight down in. Okay, so that is this kind of stuff. One thing I forgot to say, depth per pass. When you're using these round guys, get up by my camera, when you're using these round guys here, the basics is half the diameter. So if you're using a 1/4 inch bit, you can use a 0.125. Okay, if you're using an 1/8 inch bit, then half the 1/8 inch bit is 0.0625. So rule of thumb, depth per pass is half the diameter of the bit that you're using. Now when you're using a big old V-carve guy like this, which is an inch thick, inch in diameter, I would not go down to a 1/2 inch for depth per pass. That's just removing a lot of material for a little router. Now down here, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to hit simulate, simulating the tool path, and you can see that's just going to give me a good estimate of how long it's going to take. Now I doubled the depth per pass of this one, so that brought it down to 17 minutes. So that's pretty cool right there. Yeah, this is just something that you can, painting and prep will take a little bit longer, but if we can carve it in 17 minutes, that's pretty cool. I'm going to go back here to product preview, and so now you can just see a good close-up of it. You can zoom in, obviously. You can tilt it and stuff like this. Now this is what I use when I have customers who want to see a rendering, and I'll usually send them a picture of what it will look like, or at least close to what it will look like, just to make sure that they're good with it and that they approve it. And so I just take a partial screenshot of this guy right here, and that's what I send to them just to say, hey, is this good? Do you want me to cut it? Especially when I'm doing custom work. Okay? All right, so that's pretty good. That's pretty good for one video. I don't think I can record for more than 15 minutes. So this video is great. I'm going to show a custom design on the next video just to let you guys be able to see it. So hopefully this made some sense. Have fun. Thank you so much for doing this.